winner takes a 3-2 lead in this opening round series. Morant, oh! Finds Rose. Rose trying to get open, fires away. Bang! It's over!
Can exploit that. Uh-oh.
Looked like John was ready for takeoff.
They open up the floor. Outside. Rose starts to drive, hands, fire, score.
Ja Morant and Derrick Rose. These are two players who some people say are like the exact same version of the other, but just in a different body. So we're going to be diving into these two and find out which of these guys is the better player both right now and over the course of their careers. Stats are the first thing that we're going to be covering here, and we'll start with Ja Morant. Morant is coming off a season in which he just averaged 27.4 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 6.7 assists per game. Over the course of his 187-game career with the Memphis Grizzlies, the young star point guard has averaged 21.2 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 7.1 assists per game, which is actually really impressive considering how young he still is in his NBA career. When it comes to his totals, Morant has scored 3,961 points, he's grabbed 836 rebounds, and has 1,337 assists in a relatively short amount of time. We also don't need to talk about his best season in the league because obviously it happened last year when he averaged 27. The guy was a genuine MVP candidate down the stretch of the season with the way he was playing and just dragging the Grizzlies into the playoffs. So now let's flip over to Derrick Rose. He's coming off a season in which he just averaged 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists per game in just 26 matchups. Though it's important to note that obviously he's not the same player he once was. Over the course of his career, Rose has averaged 18.2 points, 3.3 rebounds, and 5.4 assists per game. As you'd expect, his totals are a lot higher, with 12,230 points, 2,239 rebounds, and 3,646 assists. Now, Rose's best season in the league came back in 2010-2011 with the Chicago Bulls. He played in 81 games that year, averaging 25 points, 4.1 rebounds, and 7.7 assists. Shockingly, I think I'm going to give this category to Ja Morant. Morant's best season numbers are somehow better than Rose's best year, and his career average numbers are better even with far few years in the league.
Wins.
Now, when we talk about head-to-head matchups, we don't get to see Ja taking on Rose in his prime, but we've gotten to see these two take one another on 3 times so far in their overlapping careers. All those matchups came in the regular season, too. During this stretch, Rose saw his team come out on top in 2 of those games. When it comes to their stats in those games, it's actually pretty close. Morant averages 16.7 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 8 assists per game in this stretch. Meanwhile, Rose averages 22 points, 3 rebounds, and 4.3 assists. Rose has more points by a substantial amount, while Morant is slightly ahead in rebounds and double the assists. So this is one of those categories that's really close between both Rose and Ja. However, I'll have to give this one to D-Rose, man. He won 1 more game, and he does score a good chunk more points, despite being in a bit of a lesser role now.
Wins.
When it comes to accolades, Ja Morant obviously hasn't had as much time to earn as many as Rose. Ja has played for just 3 years, but has made the All-Star game once. He also made it onto an All-NBA squad, and he won the NBA Rookie of the Year award a few years ago. Of course, he also made it onto the All-Rookie squad that year, and most recently, he was awarded the league's Most Improved Player. Outside of that, he doesn't really have anything else besides a couple weekly awards and 3 monthly awards that he's accumulated along the way. Now, as for Rose, he's been playing a good bit longer, though injuries have really held him back from his full potential. When he's healthy, though, he's still a force. Rose is a 3-time league All-Star and a member of the 2010-2011 All-NBA team. He was also the Rookie of the Year and a member of the All-Rookie First Team. But the accolade that really takes this category for him, Rose was able to win the MVP award, becoming the youngest player to ever be good enough to actually accomplish this feat. It's something that might not ever be done again in league history. Now, when it comes to the smaller awards, Rose has been hit with 5 monthly and 5 weekly awards. So at the end of this category, I'll have to give this one to Rose too. Ja just hasn't been able to get enough done yet to catch Rose at this stage in their careers. Even if he did, he might be in desperate need of an MVP too. Rose winning that young MVP award is something that's going to set him apart from a lot of people in this league.
Wins.
All right, moving on to the next category we're going to be talking about, it's team success. Obviously, this is a big factor in how good a player is because nobody wants to see some dude just put up empty stats year after year. Ja came into a team that just finished with a 33-49 overall record on the season. He was needed to step up and improve the team right away, And he did just that. He improved them by 1 game in his rookie season, which wasn't much, but it was a start. The following year, though, saw him take them into the Western Conference playoffs, where they lost in 5 to the Utah Jazz in the first round. Then, most recently, he helped Memphis have one of the best records in the league at 56-26 and took them to Game 6 of the semifinals against the eventual champions, Golden State Warriors. Now, as for Rose, he started his career off by taking the Chicago Bulls into the playoffs in his first 3 years. That third season saw him win the MVP and drag them into the Eastern Conference Finals against the Miami Heat, unfortunately losing in 5 games. They continued to make the postseason for the next 3 to 4 years, but never made it deeper than the conference finals that one time. Though it's also worth noting that he suffered major knee injuries during this span that held him out of a lot of time and changed the way he played the game. He eventually went to the New York Knicks and then got traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, he didn't do much and went to the Minnesota Timberwolves after that. He helped them get into the playoffs once, but not the following year, and then he went to the Detroit Pistons where he got stuck with a rebuilding team. Now, most recently and currently, he's been with the Knicks again, helping them make the playoffs in 1 year before missing most of last season with injuries. I tell you, it's been one heck of a roller coaster for Rose, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna give him the edge in this category too. He's played a lot longer and achieved greater heights than Morant has at this point in his career. Ja's getting close, but he's not quite there yet. Now, before we move on to talking about what these two players are known for during their time in the league, we gotta show you guys a few clips from their great careers so far, just to let you all know exactly how great these two guys are on the court. Be prepared because these guys are absolute showstoppers when they're both healthy.
Rose, the crossover, gets to the rim. Oh, what a beauty from Derrick Rose. Morant left alone for 3.
Oh, best step back. Got the opportunity to go against Chris Bosh.
How friendly are they? Wait a second. Here is Rose all the way. Takes it away. Oh, goes behind the back and slams it. That's insanity.
Okay, before we officially break out a determination of who's better, let's briefly talk about what they're known for. Morant is known to be an athletic freak who soars through the sky to create some highlight-level dunks and blocks. He's a dude who completely elevates the Grizzlies to heights they never thought possible just a few years ago. Now, as for Rose, he's a fan favorite who had arguably the highest ceiling for a point guard we've ever seen before his knee injuries derailed his career in Chicago. At their peaks, they had very similar play styles, but now Rose is just more of that grizzled veteran who's known to be one of the biggest what-ifs in history. Okay, so after all that information, we finally get the big choice. Who's the better player, Rose or Morant? Well, as it stands right now, obviously Morant's the better player. Over the course of their careers, though, it's really hard to argue that Morant is better right now than Rose has been throughout his career. I just can't see that happening, especially given Derrick's MVP season. So let us know down below if you think otherwise, or if we were able to get it right and roll with Rose over Morant.